Greetings, Bapo family. Bapo, believe ambitiously, persevere opportunities outstandingly. This morning topic is accountability of paternity fraudsters. I am calling for a bill to table in Parliament to effect into law which make it criminal for a woman who commit the act of paternity fraud. Such woman will be subjected to a prison sentence of 6 months or $500,000 if she knowingly commit the act of paternity fraud. Of course, paternity fraud can be proven through a polygraph test. So once there is a polygraph test and she proves that she knowingly commit the act of paternity fraud, she should be accountable for her actions. And such accountability, what I'm talking about, is 6 months sentence or a payment of $500,000. Such accountability I'm talking about will bring about change in our society. Women will think twice about committing such cruel act against males. Our society can only be better, can only improve when there is accountability and transparency. Scammers are held accountable for their actions. Why paternity fraudsters should go about without any consequence to their action? There will always be consequence to our actions. There will always be consequence. I can even make reference to a biblical analogy. When Lucifer rebelled against God, he was cast out. Therefore, there will always be consequence. He was cast out of heaven. There will always be consequence to our actions. And paternity fraudsters should be no different. To be any different. There should always be consequence to their actions. Because such actions oftentimes result in other social issues such as domestic abuse, domestic violence. And we tend to harshly criticize men who commit the act of domestic abuse against women, which there's no justification for domestic abuse. But we have to look at the cause, oftentimes, to prevent domestic abuse and other social issues. We must ensure that there's accountability and transparency. Therefore, the legislative framework must be in place to trample on paternity fraud or paternity discrepancy in our country, so we can live in peace. There can be peaceful coexistence within the confines of relationship. It can't continue like this, in which a woman can just feel as if she can just give a man a child that doesn't belong to him, in which that child is not biological compatible with. The legislative framework must be in place. This act been going on quite a while, even before I was born. And there's no legislative framework to trample on such cruel act with so many negative consequences against the recipients and against the child who's endured such psychological damage. It must stop. There must be a legislative framework. There must be accountability for women who knowingly commit such act. So a man who might feel as if his child he's not compatible with his child. He's not DNA, and he do a DNA test on his child, and he found out that the child don't belong to him, right? It causes trauma, you know. It's a traumatic experience. And a woman who knowingly commits such acts is an evil woman. Is a cruel-minded woman. And it cannot continue like this, in which women just believe as if they can just do as they like. Domestic abuse is wrong. Paternity fraud is wrong. Oftentimes we ignore paternity fraud, but we are always on the bandwagon of domestic abuse. They are both wrong. We should never be sexist in a way that we can't see the wrong committed by a woman. Wrong is a wrong. Gender should not give